Welcome back to Football Daily, where we're bringing you a part 2 of a video that went out on EFD last year. 10 sell-on clauses that saved a small club feature the likes of Aymeric, Laporte and Frenkie de Jong. But who makes it in this time? Let's find out. 10. Ollie McBurnie. We start with Ollie McBurnie, the Yorkshire-born Scotland international who currently turns out for Sheffield United. His career began with hometown club Leeds United before being released, joining neighbouring Bradford City, and ultimately it would be the Bantams that benefited from the striker's rise to the top. The Valley Parade club sold a 19-year-old McBurnie to Premier League side Swansea City for £250,000. wisely inserting a 15% sell-on clause. After a couple of seasons away on loan, he scored 22 goals for the Swans in the 2018-19 campaign, following their relegation to the Championship. This was enough for the Blades, promoted from the same level that season, to splash £18 million on the player. This earned Bradford a windfall of £2 million from the sale, enough to make sure his former side turned a profit of £1 million in the year which the pandemic struck, a time when many other clubs were worrying for their future. Unfortunately for Sheffield United, McBurnie has failed to replicate his form from 3 years ago, netting just 8 times in almost 100 appearances at Bramall Lane. 9. James McCarthy. Until joining Celtic last summer, James McCarthy had spent over a decade as a Premier League player, first featuring for Wigan Athletic back in 2009, before stints with both Everton and Crystal Palace. And it was the switch to Everton that made his first club a lot of money, after the Toffees paid Wigan almost £14 million for his services in 2013. The Republic of Ireland international came through the ranks at Hamilton Academical, who were a yo-yo club in the Scottish system, flitting between the Scottish Premiership and First Division. When the Accies sold McCarthy south of the border for £5 million, it was 10 times their previous record sale, and to date is still more than 4 times their next biggest departure. In fact, the 20% sell-on clause means that the £2 million received from McCarthy's move to Goodison Park would make the midfielder not only number 1, but 2 and 3 on their record departures list. The cash injection helped Hamilton return to the top flight that season as well, kickstarting their longest stint at that level since before World War II, as the club also vowed to keep developing the next generation of Scottish talent. 8. Thomas Partey. The deal that saw Thomas Partey move from Atletico Madrid to Arsenal in 2020 for €50 million didn't actually include a sell-on clause, but thanks to the solidarity payments rule implemented by FIFA, his youth clubs in Ghana were entitled to part of the fee. This effectively ensures that smaller clubs don't lose out on money from players leaving for free, especially when they secure themselves a big move. 5% of any transfer fee is withheld to be distributed amongst the teams a player was part of between the ages of 12 and 23 as compensation for their development. As Partey didn't move to Spain until he was 19, Ghanaian clubs Revelation FC and Tema Youth received a chunk of the €2.5 million as the 28-year-old put pen to paper in North London. The figure is believed to be around €1.2 million, with Revelation FC earning €750,000 of that, an enormous amount of money for a club of that stature, which helped the Accra side achieve promotion to the 3rd tier of Ghanaian football last year. Even if Partey took a while to hit his stride with Arsenal, his legacy back home is already cemented. 7. Callum Wilson. Despite being a founding member of the Premier League and a top-flight team between 1967 and 2001, Coventry City have recently fallen on hard times. Thanks to mismanagement behind the scenes, the Sky Blues fell as low as League 2 in 2017-18. and spent time playing home fixtures at Birmingham City's St Andrew's Ground. So you would have thought that any money the club had made may not have been invested wisely, as was the case when the club received £2 million for the sale of former player James Maddison from Norwich to Leicester in 2018. In 2020 they received a similar fee when Newcastle signed Bournemouth's Callum Wilson for £20 million, who netted 21 goals for his hometown club in 2013-14. This contributed to a reduction in the club's headline-making debt, despite a season with no fans, and the Warwickshire side are slowly getting back to their best. In the last 2 years, Coventry have been crowned League One champions, returning to the 2nd tier for the first time since 2012, now establishing themselves as a championship club. They even flirted with the playoffs earlier this season, something that seemed almost impossible 5 years ago. 6. Victor Osimhen. After being spotted at the Under-17 World Cup, Victor Osimhen signed an agreement to join Wolfsburg when he turned 18, and despite failing to impress at the Volkswagen Arena, exploded when he moved on loan to Belgian Pro League side Charleroi. In 2018-19, after suffering from malaria in pre-season, the still teenage Osimhen would net 20 times in 36 matches. It was therefore a no-brainer for them to trigger the €3.5 million option to buy, but he wouldn't play another game at the Stade de Pays de Charleroi. Lille swooped in with a €22 million deal the same summer, proving to be Charleroi biggest ever payday, 4 times their previous record at the time. And with Osimhen continuing his form in Ligue 1, his previous side would be rewarded with another big cash injection just 12 months later. When Napoli signed the 23-year-old from Les Dogs for €80 million in 2020, a 15% sell-on clause meant that Charleroi could have received close to €12 million for the Nigerian. This fee covers around 2 years of wages for the entire squad based on 2021 figures, meaning that Osimhen's meteoric rise covered the Belgians' playing costs for the next 5 years. 5. Jordon Ibe. Liverpool have made a habit in recent years of selling on bit part players for big money. See Danny Ward and Dominic Solanke for examples. But one player they sold had a profound knock-on effect for the player's previous club, after Bournemouth came calling for winger Jordon Ibe. Ibe signed for Liverpool in December 2011, with the Reds forking out around £500,000 to Wycombe Wanderers for the teenager, who had turned 16 just days earlier. Hotly tipped, the youngest goalscorer in League One history never quite made the grade at Anfield, despite being seen as a ready-made Raheem Sterling replacement when he moved on to Man City. The 15% sell-on clause saw the Chairboys net £2 million of the £50 million sale of Ibe to Bournemouth in 2016, more than double their record transfer departure. This allowed the club, then struggling in League 2, to clear their debts with their previous owner and still maintain a positive bank balance, helping lay the foundations for the future. The club would reach the second tier of English football for the first time in their history in 2020, not a bad legacy for Ibe to have at the Buckinghamshire club. 4. Alexander Sørloth. It's hard to pin down exactly how good a player Alexander Sørloth is. Still only 26 years old, the Norwegian has now played for 9 football clubs, with spells in the Netherlands, Denmark, England, Belgium, Turkey, Germany and Spain. The English perspective on the striker is marred thanks to a goalless spell with Crystal Palace, yet still somehow the Eagles made their money back on him. After impressing on loan at Trabzonspor with 33 goals in all competitions in 2019-20, Sørloth would earn a €20 million move to RB Leipzig, with that fee being split evenly between the Turkish side and Palace. But the club that was most heavily impacted by the move was actually Sørloth's first ever club, Strindheim, a local club based in his hometown of Trondheim in central Norway. Sørloth would leave Strindheim for Rosenborg, Norway's biggest club, when he was 15, meaning that the 4th tier side would receive some compensation for the big money move. Strindheim earned some €125,000 for their part in Sørloth's development, and as an entirely amateur multi-sport organisation, it went a long way to ensuring the future of not only the football side, but all aspects of this small community club. 3. Les Ferdinand. We're heading back a bit in time for this next one. Les Ferdinand played for a top-flight club between 1987 and 2005, with spells in the Premier League for Newcastle, Spurs, West Ham, Leicester and Bolton in that time. His big breakthrough though came with QPR, for whom he scored 90 goals in 184 games between 1987 and 1995, with the bulk of these coming after a tremendous loan spell at Besiktas in 88-89. QPR signed a 20-year-old Ferdinand, cousin of Rio and Anton, for just $50,000 from non-league Hayes, after he scored 19 goals in 33 games, and the Missioners were savvy enough to insert a 10% sell-on clause into the final deal. That paid dividends in 1995, after a 24-goal campaign for the England international, when Newcastle made a £6 million move for the striker. This netted Hayes a cool £600,000, money that could go a long way in football 3 decades ago. They used it to create a function room named the Ferdinand Suite in their former number 9's honour. It also helped the club slowly climb the football pyramid, where they peaked at 3rd place in the conference, just 7 points from reaching the Football League. 2. The Hernandez Brothers. Brothers Luca and Theo Hernandez have gone on to become leading players in their positions on the pitch, with Luca 26 now at Bayern Munich, whilst Theo 24 is a star at AC Milan. The French pair both came through the ranks at Atletico Madrid, although this wasn't their first club, instead starting out with Real Majadahonda, based just outside the Spanish capital. Usually a regional division club, Los Marorejos made it to the 2nd tier in 2018-19 for the first time, and whilst they went straight back down, it's fair to say the Hernandez brothers' success contributed to their rise. Despite both being under 12 when they joined Atleti's academy, private arrangements ensured that Real Majadahonda would profit should either player move on. So when Theo swapped Atleti for Real Madrid for €2 million in 2017, Majadahonda received around €200,000, and received a similar figure when Luca left Los Colchoneros for Bavaria in an €80 million deal 2 years later. Having never knowingly benefited from a sale of one of their own players before, both deals help protect the club's future at a level when finances are often very uncertain, proving very shrewd negotiating from the Spanish minnows. 1. Alan Browne and Sean Maguire. A unique case at number 1, as both Alan Browne and Sean Maguire are yet to move on from Preston North End, meaning their previous club Cork City shouldn't have yet benefited from any sell-on clauses. However, desperate times for the former Irish Premier League club called for desperate measures, so they called in a favour. The pair left the rebel army some years ago, Browne moving on for free in 2014 and Maguire costing the Lilywhites just over £100,000 3 years later. Between them, the pair have made over 450 appearances for the Lancashire club, both seeming to have found their level in the football pyramid, meaning Cork would miss out on the 20% sell-on clause they had in place for each player. But financial troubles struck the Munster side in early 2020, with them needing to clear some £300,000 worth of debt in order to secure their league licence to even play football that year. Preston agreed to sell the clauses for around £500,000, securing their Irish neighbours' future, and being so thankful, Irish-owned Cork City have given the current Preston owners first option to buy the club should such a situation arise. It was truly a deal that stopped a football club going bust. So guys, that was 10 sell-on clauses that saved a small club. What did you guys think of the rundown, and did we miss anything out? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do smash that subscribe button to Football Daily for more great football content, and I'll catch you next time.